ain't talking to our neighbor. We're going to talk to ourselves today. Is that all right?
Right.
Okay, so I need you to work with me. All right? Because this is not about me. It's about you. We're going to talk about killing our dreams. Very first thing, as we get ready to move through this process, as I said, with the music, it would make more sense, but we don't have the music, so we're not going to worry about it. Right. Now, as you can see on the board, I love to put that up there. You know, yeah. I heard it all before. What are you going to tell me? I don't already know. Because guess what? I've been a teenager too. I knew everything. I was hip to everything. I knew everything that was going to happen. I knew what people were going to say before they said it. I knew how dumb my parents were. I knew how dumb the other adults were. So what were they going to tell me that I didn't already know? Right. All right? Right? Do you agree with me on that? I agree. As I thought you would. I like that. Now, also, if you can see the graphic here, you see my silent screams I dare not share. My silent screams I dare not share. Right underneath that, fear consumes me. Now, when I say I need you to work with me, I need you to think just a little bit. I know all of you are very heavy thinkers. I know you're very intelligent men and women, and I need you to think just a little bit. I'm talking about being a champion, then I'm talking about the fear. And we need to connect those two when we're talking about being our own dream killer. Because we are infamous, aren't we? As human beings, we are infamous for blaming everything on everybody else. Right. You go to school, we talk about character counts. Right. And we talk about being a good citizen and taking your trays off the table and putting the chairs off for the ladies, and ladies act like a lady, and we talk about all those kinds of things. Right. But what we never discuss is, because we're so cool, we've never discussed the fears as they relate to the champion. Right. Now, what do you know about being a champion, Mr. Lars? You just up here wasting our time. You old guy, all right? High school football champion, college national champion, coached with champions, built champions. I am a champion. Amen. So I can tell you, being a champion, just like you are champions. All right? Let's roll this thing a little bit further. I want you to think with me as we talk about our silent screams I dare not say. Now, you see a poem on the board here. Right. I can't see you until I see me. Okay. Keep in mind that everything that we're going to be talking about today, you know, people love to say, well, we want to talk about character counts. We want to talk about gangs. We want to talk. I don't want to talk about that, because you've heard that forever. Right. All right? Mm-hmm. What I want to talk about, what I want you to talk about with me, are the fears that you have that coexist with the champions that you are. There it is. Can we do that? Yes, sir. So let's look at right here. I can't see you until I see me. All right? We see this poem. Peering through this infinite jungle of decisions, I purposely argue with myself. Yes, sir. But nobody does that but me. I understand that. I wade into the flood of frustration and disgust, denouncing the negative tirades of society. I stretch my eyes as wide as I can get them, while all of the time wondering, is it really that dark, or are my eyes closed and sealed with denial? Now, as we talk about the processes that we go through, as we talk about the people being cool, as we talk about all of the guys that's trying to be cute and think they got stuff going on, I understand. I used to be you. Right. All right? Mm-hmm. So it's not a problem. What I want you to do is identify with you. Why am I so hot when the temperature is 20 degrees below zero? Heat on. Think. Think. Because you think you're hot. But you see, what you've got to do with me, you have got to travel with me. Because I'm a thinking man's poet. Right. You can't understand my poetry if you don't think. You got to think. Right? And we're not talking about the temperature that someone turns on that thermostat. We're not talking about the fireplace in your house. We're talking about the fireplace in your head and the fireplace in your heart. All right? So we're talking about you. We ain't telling our neighbor nothing. That's what we're going to say here. I think as myself, who am I? What drives me to be me? Why do I question my decisions? Why do I concern myself with what others think of me? But that doesn't touch any of you, right?
Touch nobody.
It don't touch you. That just happened to old guys like me.
Just like me.
Right? Because you guys got it all going on. You already hip. You understand. Let's move to the next piece here. Because I want to get through this and show you something.
Show me something.
A poet's song in the key of life. I need to bring you there, and I need you to travel there with me. Okay? What does violence look like? We talk to you about violence all the time, don't we? We tell you about not being violent, be kind, be a good person, and don't do things to people. Treat others as you would like others to treat you. We talk about that all the time, don't we? Don't raise your hands, but just think with me. How many of us actually do that? What does it smell like? We're still talking about violence. But it stinks.
It stinks.
Somebody said it stinks. I heard that.
Like,
what does it feel like? It feels like hurt. It feels like fear. It feels like frustration. It feels like anger.
It's cold.
It feels like
it's cold.
Being cold.
Yeah.
All right? Let's deal with something else here.
No, it ain't freezing. It's just cold.
Civic responsibility. Bless you. What is civic responsibility? You know, we always talk about those kinds of things, about being a good citizen and all that kind of stuff. And that's basically, in a nutshell, making it real brief. If you're talking about civic responsibility, it's when you get old enough to vote. Obviously, you vote, but you protect your neighborhood.
Right.
You don't throw trash out in your neighborhood. You don't trash your school. You get involved with things that are happening. You assist. You share. All right? Corporation. Who, where does he or she live? If we talk about cooperation. Remember, we're on a trip, right? And all you guys are still with me. So if we're talking about cooperation, then that means that we have to do something together. And hopefully that's something that we do together is a positive undertaking of all of us as we move forward, because we've already talked about civic responsibility. We know everybody have talked you to death about character counts and all that. I already know that. Remember? I used to be you. Okay? Apathy. Oh, I got it. That's what Adam and Eve ate in the garden. I had a student tell me that once.
What?
I said, man, what is apathy? He's like, that's that thing Adam and Eve ate in the garden, wasn't it?
Apathy.
And he was serious. He wasn't trying to be cute. And, you know, I stick it a little bit, I'll be honest. But we had to kind of break that thing down. It's when you basically just kind of have a nonchalant, no-care attitude. The weakest excuse in the world for adults and young people alike is, I don't care.
Ooh,
it doesn't matter to me.
So
that's also one of the biggest lies that's ever been told in the world. Respect. You know, I know you heard your mom singing around the house, and everybody knows Aretha Franklin has coined the phrase, etc. And it's simply talking about, again, getting back to that aspect of treating others like I'd like to be treated. Foul language. Now here, everybody, I don't know. Cursing, I guess. I had a student tell me that one time. And I also had a student ask me, what's wrong with it? Remember we talked about civic responsibility? Remember we talked about respect and all those kinds of things? That's what's wrong with it. But we're not going to talk about what's wrong. We are taking a journey because all of you are intelligent and you can think, and we're going to move the process as you think. I need you to take another little trip with me right here. Now, as we take this
he wanted this record. This is camera.
Hey, Melvin.
We have a poem on the board again. What do you do when the crowd stops cheering? Now, we've covered all this other stuff about how we do civic duty and what our responsibilities are and how we address the neighborhood and how we treat people we want them to treat us and we curse because we don't think anything's wrong with it. We've covered all of that stuff. But what we did not say is many times we do that because we think we have the crowd cheering for us. Now that's the part that makes me sad when I see people that are not smart enough to know they're not smart. Can I repeat that? That's what makes me sad when I see people that are smart enough to know they're not smart. That make any sense? You gotta think now.
You gotta think. It's be logic.
They're smart enough, though they're not smart. So what do?
Hey.
They act up. They try to get your attention. They want the crowd to cheer and all of that kind of stuff. But what do you do when the crowd stops cheering? I wrote this for an athlete friend of mine. Had been in the NFL. He retired. He wasn't as bad as Brett Favre as far as couldn't stand retirement, but he just couldn't deal with it because the crowd was no longer cheering. Let's look at it. When you look into that mural on the wall, where your life have been filled with happiness, love, family, and education, or when you have blown it off, falling a physically shaped ball. What will you do when the crowd stops cheering? Is it fair to assume that when you sit in your college room, hopefully all of you will go, that money will be and all strewn away and wasted like a Mardi Gras doubloon? Many of you don't know what Mardi Gras is. We don't have time to talk about it, but we will. Once you produce, I get off yourself pity pot. Again, what do you do when the crowd stops cheering? Well, let me help you and tell you what you do when the crowd. Let me tell you what I did when the crowd stopped cheering. All right?
I kept it thorough.
Exactly. You keep going. You know, you guys love to tell me, man, I'm just keeping it real. It's all good. No, it's not. It's not all good. When you're in a football camp and Tom Flores call you to his office, you know why Tom Flores is calling you to his office. He's not calling you to have a cup of coffee.
I thought it was Tom Izzo.
Flores was the coach for the Raiders at that time. Jim Plunkett was the quarterback.
Who?
He's not calling you to have a cup of coffee. He's calling you to give you a ticket home. All right? Now what happens in the neighborhood? When things are not going your way, somebody you love, something's happened to them, and something has happened to you, but you've been basically, things have been rocking along pretty good for you. Things have been rocking along pretty good for the family. You've had a little of what we might call success, whether it was as an athlete, whether it was academically, no matter what it was. But all of a sudden, the pain came.
Pain.
What do you do then? That's why I want you to think. The crowd that cheers is oh so fickle. You ever thought about that?
What?
How people applaud you if you happen to be doing something that they think is good. But how quickly, let me tell you something that makes no sense to me. Who is a non-consumer of alcohol? It makes no sense to me. People encourage you to drink alcohol. And then when you become an alcoholic, it's a problem. Help me. Maybe I took too many hits in the head playing football. Somebody help me understand. I encourage you. I tell you to have a beer. I tell you it's okay. I tell you it's hip. I tell you it's what's happening. I tell you I only drink on holidays. I only drink. I can't get it. So somebody help me understand that, please. All right? That's what I'm trying to bring you home as we talk about the crowd and how the crowd cheers for you, but they will stop cheering. Then what are you going to do? All right? Because remember, you are the cool person in the room. You're the cool person in the house. You're the cool person on the block. You're the cool person everywhere you go. You got it all together because it's what? All good, right? Not. Let's move a little further. Time is up on us.
Cool cat.
What I need you to do, as you're sitting there, I need you to start processing. But because time is up on us,
bro, look at it.
I want to take you to Brother 50 Cent. Yes.
Brother
50. If y'all want to call him Brother 50, I'm good with that. I don't have a problem. But remember, you have to be cerebral. Don't believe all the hype about football players being dumb. Don't believe that. Okay? But you have to be cerebral. What do you see happening with 50? You see 50 sitting on a very expensive car, in a very expensive suit, and you observe very little bling, but keep in mind, 50, he's the man, right?
No, he ain't the man.
50 was dope, right? 50 was down with it. Was he not? But look, let me take you somewhere. Let me take you somewhere, because when you travel with me, guys, when you travel with me, you have to think. All right?
Logic.
So let me take you someplace. Now the gentleman is sitting here looking like somebody that you have never seen or somebody you think is whack.
Whack, man.
But when he was on the top of the charts, calling women derogatory names and glorifying being shot,
Unstable.
glorifying selling drugs, etc., Fitty was the man. All right?
Fitty.
But unfortunately now, what you miss, because you are your own dream killer, is that this gentleman understands what's really happening. All right? Let's talk a little bit about Snoop.
Snoop.
All right? Let's talk a little bit about Diddy.
Diddy.
We got you, sweetheart. We got you. It's not a problem. Let's talk a little bit about Diddy.
Diddy.
P. Diddy. All of these guys, right? I want in your heads, as you travel with me, remember, you got to be a thinker.
Logic.
See, thinkers don't do a lot of talking.
They logic.
You missed that, didn't you?
Nah.
Thinkers don't do a lot of talking.
They think.
They listen, they absorb, they process, and then they move on.
Doing.
All of these guys that I'm talking about right now, you can sit in a room and deny that you've listened to their music. You can sit in a room and deny that you have been bobbing your head. You can sit in a room and deny that you didn't think they were all that. And you would not be telling the truth. You have Snoop doing commercials, Cadillacs wearing suits, etc. But y'all all being played. Because you think that's life. You think that's the way to go. You think that's what makes you cool. You think that's what makes the crowd keep cheering.
Or driving the Cadillac.
And all of these people that sold you that false dream and got rich, why are they following a different path? Think about it. Don't answer me. All right? Don't answer me. I just want you to think. I just want you to think. We have about 2 minutes. Another poem called Skeleton Heads. I had asked for each one of you to get a copy of this. Unfortunately, our budget would not allow for you to get a copy of this. But if you'd like a copy of Skeleton Head, just let me know when I finish, because I want to share that with you, because it talks about the thinking process. But the last thing as we wrap this up, what I want to do is I have 2 last things.
You got a text.
You see this picture right here.
What?
This picture is from Youngstown, Ohio.
Statistic.
This picture comes from 2 of my former students that were just like the cool people in this room. You can't listen. You're trying to make jokes. You know, you got it all together, etc. These 2 young men right here are 2 of the same young men that I made a similar speech to, that did not want to listen, that did not process. Now they're sitting in the penitentiary for 50 years to life. Now, why are they doing that? Because they went into a fraternity house and shot it up, killed 2 people and wounded 12. And you know why? All because of an argument over some drugs. So let's move forward. You have to be a thinker. Let nobody tell you that you don't have to be a thinker. Last thing, let's talk about these guys. This picture, Urban Prep Academy 100% black male college attendance. That goes against all of the stats that are out there. All right? 2 years in a row, every student in that school, it's a male school, have all conquered academics. You may not want to go to college, that's not my point. My point is, they are all students that people counted out. These are, if you notice, this is, the date on this is 4 days ago. I want you to see that. You know, most of the time you guys think that we just telling you stuff that's old and stuff like that. Look at that date. February 17th, 2011. Why are we talking about this? Are you a dream killer? Are you your own dream killer? We're not talking about somebody else. We're not talking about because you hang out with somebody and that's your boy or that's your girl. Let me ask you one simple question and then I'm done. I know you told my time. Then I'm done. If I don't care what happens to me, again, I must have taken too many hits in the head playing football. What makes you think I care about what happens to you? Let me try that one more time because you missed it. People will count you out. Will you allow someone else to count you out? Or are you going to be your own dream killer? Because as you got to understand, see, the dream is dead anyway. And in order to realize the dream, you must wake up. And that's all we're talking about right now, we're talking about today. Are you going to continue to sleep, or are you going to wake up? Because, you know, everybody had a dream, right? And I tell people all the time, sometimes black people get upset with me. I love Martin Luther King dearly, but he's not the only one that had a dream. All right? So with you guys, I need you to think. If you dream, you must wake up. My dream was to play in the NFL, make all of this money, and play forever. I woke up. I went to class. I paid attention. I got a diploma. And when they sent me home, I got a job. All right? So it's not bragging. We're just trying to share with you, don't be your own dream killer. Okay? So as we talk today, I know that you guys have journeyed with me, and I know that you've gone on a journey probably that you're not used to, because we don't require you to look at you. We require you to look at other people. And we love to say, don't hang out with the bad crowd. He's bad. We ain't talking about him. Allow me to speak Ebonics. We ain't talking about him. We are talking about you. Deal with the process. Deal with yourselves. Do not kill your own dreams. Yeah, listen to people when they're talking to you about character counts and all that. All that's good. All right? But the reality of the situation is, when you are in situations where you have to make decisions, that's when it all counts. Okay? So it's been great talking to you guys. If you want a copy of